We're going to do things a little differently today.
Yeah.
And we're going to move straight into our special guest.
Yeah.
So at the desk right now
Absolutely.
is Mark Kopp, Superintendent of Franklin County Schools. Good morning,
Good
Mr.
morning.
Kopp.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Can I do that one-word answer thing? Can I do that?
You can try it.
That's fine. Yeah.
I don't know how to play, but we can give it a shot.
Might be the fastest interview that we've ever done. Yeah.
So we'll start things off today by talking about something that we haven't had a lot of, and it feels like for the past 2 years, and that's snow days.
True.
Tell us about what goes into the decision to call a snow day, how you all make that decision.
Yeah, that's a great question. So when we know there's going to be a snow event, there are actually 3 of us in the county schools, myself, our director of transportation, and our assistant superintendent for district services. And the 3 of us split up the county into 3 different distinct areas. And we get up at 3:30 in the morning and we drive the roads.
Man.
And we have our radios with us during that time, and we talk to each other about what we see. I generally drive everything south of 64. And then we also have to drive the Bald Knob area and some of the other remote areas of the county. Generally speaking, obviously the city roads are a little bit better. Even at that time, hopefully there's been some pre-treating. Great example was this past Friday. We haven't driven the road since the week before Thanksgiving. There was one day we had to get up and drive, and we thankfully were able to go to school that day.
Yeah.
But this past Friday, we got up, we started to drive, and within 15 minutes, we were pretty sure that it didn't look good. So we'll communicate with each other and talk about what we see. Generally speaking, the reason we get up that early isn't because of trying to set some record or anything.
Yeah.
Our buses have to generally start up sometimes as early as 5 in the morning. They have to have time to warm up, especially on cold days. One of our routes, hits the road by 5:30 to get to where they need to go. So we have to generally make that call by 5 o'clock or so if we can. And the way I've always kind of made that decision is I listen to the input of the other 2 folks that I mentioned earlier. We try to talk about what we see, and if there's anything questionable at all, we're going to err on the side of caution. It's just not worth taking a risk. This past Friday was an easy call to make. Even the entrance ramp onto 64 was bad. So
I think you're right. That's one of those decisions. It's no brainer. If you're going to err one side or the other, you got to go towards safety. But I also feel like it's one of those decisions that people are going to get mad at you no matter what you do.
No question. No question. It's and you have to take the good with the bad, obviously. But at the end of the day, our number one priority in schools is protecting the safety of our kiddos. As soon as we have them, when we pick them up in the morning till we take them home at night, we're in charge of making sure that they're safe.
Yeah.
And it's important.
So I would suggest that the next time you want to get upset about whether they're school or not, just consider the fact that people are out there driving the roads at 3 o'clock in the morning while you're in bed.
It does happen, yes.
One other question about that. Explain to us what an NTI day is.
Great. So non-traditional instructional days, or NTI days, were implemented a few years ago in terms of districts across the state could apply for those. What that does is it allows instruction to still take place, but it's done in a remote way. So we can still technically have school where students can work on their Chromebooks. We're a 1-to-1 district in terms of middle through high. And even at the elementary level, we have a great deal of capability there. So our teachers can communicate with our students remotely during snow days that are these NTI days. And it's not instruction that is brand new instruction, because nothing can ever replace a teacher talking to students. Right. But those are days when we can spend time reviewing information. As we all know, the way to master content in a lot of cases is really make sure you spend some time reviewing that information. So non-traditional instructional days are ways in which you don't have to extend the calendar year. A couple of years ago, for instance, we had 9 snow events. And we had to take some NTI days because otherwise we would have been going to school in June. And that's a challenging thing sometimes. So
So this year we had, I think, one built-in snow day where there was no NTI, right?
We were off for inauguration parade day, so we're making
Right,
that day
gotcha.
up. Actually, this Friday, February 14th, was going to be a non-student day, but we'll be in school on that day. And then we've had this one snow day. The makeup day for that is March 13th in the calendar. So
Okay. Yeah, my daughter, who goes to Western Hills, is all for the actual snow days, but once it moves into NTI, she'd rather just go to school.
Understood. we completely get it. Look, there's no optimal solution.
Right. Just keep the kids safe.
Exactly.
Yep.
Well, we have here to talk about District Luau Day. Now, to me, that's an interesting segue from cold
Sure.
weather and snow days into luau's. But tell us what the District Luau Day is.
Well, they actually kind of complement each other. When I first came 2.5 years ago now, one of the first things it wasn't necessarily the first thing, but one of the things we implemented was this District Luau Day. And it's usually the third Friday in February. Reason being, and what it is, it's simply a quote unquote hallmark holiday that we've created to kind of break up the doldrums of winter. Winter can be in Kentucky, as we all know. Just look at it outside today. Gray, rainy,
it's
snowy,
been dreary all week.
Exactly. And we lack sunshine. And frankly, we get to this point of the year, we need a little sunshine in our lives. And we have a lot of events throughout the course of the year that are student generated. They're really focused on student participation. This was really an initiative to not only include students, but really focus on staff involvement. And so we have a competition across the district on Friday, February 21st, where we encourage our staff to take part. They decorate the halls with Hawaiian theme.
Cool.
Some of our schools really get into it. Last year there was a working volcano and sand in one of the lobbies. It's just a lot of fun. Climate and culture are so important in our schools today, and our kids need to see us as adults enjoying what we do. And I think they see that every day, but this is just another way of expressing that. And anytime we can take a chance and or take a look at having some type of sunshine in our lives and luau music, it takes us to a better place mentally.
Sure.
And happy folks are productive folks.
Yeah, and I think it's nice to dedicate a day for that,
and they have fun with it, and they get competitive with it.
I'm sure.
which is great.
Is it true that you guys are looking for some substitute teachers?
Yes, I think there was an article in the newspaper a couple of weeks ago about this. We have hired approximately 140 subs, and that's an awful lot. That's a large number of subs, but the problem is, sometimes is getting subs to work. And what we run into is when the economy is really strong, unemployment's at a historically low rate right now. The people who have subbed for us in the past may be working other jobs, and that makes it challenging. In a district of our size, we have 13 schools, we have 6,300 students. I'll give you Monday as an example. We had 30 teacher absences, whether it was we're being ravaged by illness right now, like a lot of districts are. We had some conferences going on. So 30 absences for teachers is pretty good number for us. That's a lot. But you would think, well, you have 140 subs, you should be able to cover that. It's challenging sometimes to when the economy's strong, to get those folks to work. So, we've implemented some other things that, last year we passed a new policy that if subs work 50 days in a year, as soon as they work that next day, we increase their pay by $10 a day, which is a significant little chunk of money. We've also incentivized teachers. Sometimes we have to ask teachers to cover classes. So the Board of Education passed a policy this year that allows for teachers to take their planning after school and get paid for that planning after school. And during the school day, then during their planning, they would cover classes. So
if somebody's out there that might be interested, just remind everybody what it takes to be a substitute teacher.
Yes, so it is 60 hours above the high school degree. And if there are specific questions, if they go to our website, they can click on the Human Resources tab. They can also contact Holly Adkins, the Director of Human Resources at Franklin County Schools, and she can answer any questions. We're always hiring subs. So if there are people out there watching, listening to this broadcast, we encourage you, help our students. Yeah. It's a noble profession, and it's it's a calling, obviously,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, it's also very rewarding and fulfilling.
I think everybody has those certain substitutes that you remember.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We had Mr. Knuckles.
Mr. Knuckles.
And
okay.
man, he was.
Are you sure that wasn't
he
a
fit his
wrestling
name.
stage name?
Yeah,
or?
no, I don't. Not that I know of, but you did not want to mess around with Mr. Knuckles.
All
I'll
right,
tell you
that's
that. He was
great.
probably about 80 years old, and he would grab you by the shoulders if you were acting
sure.
up. So,
Yeah.
but,
That was a different time.
He is no longer subbing for us. I just want that point.
yeah, no, this is in Boyle County, so
Yeah.
no Frank.
Yeah, no, he never did.
No, he might be between the ropes somewhere right now.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, you mentioned helping students. And speaking of helping students, Georgetown College announced a game changer in the Legacy and Legends tuition scholarship program. And that is for students in surrounding counties, including Franklin County. Talk to us about that. I'm sure that was a huge impact on Franklin County
Incredibly
schools.
exciting. Game changer is a great word for it. It's a word I've used before because it is. So 4 counties were selected that had Legacy and Legends from Scott County, from Georgetown College. And we're so blessed to have this partnership with Georgetown College. It provides free tuition for any student who graduates from Franklin County schools. And there are no strings attached to that. It literally is if you graduate and you meet the entrance requirements and you get admitted to Georgetown College, your college is free. You only have to pay room and board. So when you're talking about how much that truly is in terms of dollars, Georgetown College is about $40,000 a year. So we're talking about $160,000 scholarship. We think it's a game changer, not only for our current students, but we see it as an ability for our district and our county to grow. It's also applicable to Frankfort Independent Schools. And, I've talked to Houston Barber about this. We both feel that this is something that can build our entire community. When every day we see thousands of cars driving into Frankfort and leaving at 4:30 every day, we want to show that this county is a great place to live. It truly is. I fell in love with this place when I first lived here. I lived here from 2005 to 2009, and this was the first superintendent job that I applied for because I wanted to come back to this community. And this is a wonderful place, and this is a game changer. When people see that they can save $160,000 for their child's tuition, we're very hopeful that they're going to want to move to this community and graduate from one of our high schools.
And as we've seen over the last couple of years, there's been a lot of growth in Franklin County
Yes.
and a lot of exciting stuff happening in Frankfort.
But we need more. We
and
want
this
to
is
grow.
it's a huge opportunity.
And I think this is a fantastic opportunity.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
Thanks for coming on, Mr. Kopp.
sure, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity, and I can't wait to come on and see you guys again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we hope you
And I look forward to it. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah. Looking forward to keeping in touch with all things Franklin County schools.
Absolutely. And by the way, this is wood, so knock on wood, no more snow days. No more snow days.
All right.